Joining us this morning to analyze and talk about what's going on, I want to bring in former Michigan Congressman and Intel Committee Chair Mike Rogers. Good morning to you. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks, Marni. Good
So
to see you.
these cranes, is this a new type of intelligence gathering? How worried are you about this?
It is not a new type of intelligence gathering, but I think there's just a better awareness. So any industrial tool that uses a sensor to make it more efficient also has the capability to share that information that it sees in its surrounding. So anything from any manufacturing plant, trucking company, crane operator. So what happens is all of the material coming in and out of that port would have the capability, these cranes, Chinese-made cranes, would have the capability, if the intelligence services wanted it to have that capability, to both categorize, log, and send along that information to China. And you think, well, what does that mean? It means it gets to keep track of what kind of weapons, where those weapons are going, the kind and quantity that are passing through those ports. Very, very, very important to intelligence planning purposes. Especially since China is getting a little bit more bellicose in its world approach.
Right. So it's more about the location of what they're monitoring, the technology they're using, the access to the information they're trying to get.
Absolutely. There's an old saying in intelligence, it's always about access. So the closer you are to your problem set, the better off you are. In this case, they don't have to have somebody in there taking, manually taking logs. They can just use the sensors that are on board and transmit that information back to intelligence services.
So what's the U.S. do to respond? What's the next step?
Well, a couple of things. A, we can make sure that the folks who are deploying these cranes understand this dual purpose, number one. Number two, we're going to have to find technological ways to obfuscate what we're doing in those ports. To make sure that it is not quite apparent. It won't be apparent by the the bill of lading. None of that will exactly give away exactly what's on those ships. And the sensors that we use, we're going to have to make sure that those sensors aren't being able to be read by Chinese intelligence services as well. So a lot of counterintelligence type activity that's going to have to happen really quickly in the near term.
And this is all happening as we hear China is boosting its military spending by upwards of 10% or so, still a fraction of what the U.S. spends, but it raised a lot of eyebrows this morning. What's your level of concern for the U.S. and maybe more specifically right now for Taiwan, given this news?
Yeah, remember, Taiwan is a symptom of what China is up to. They do want to expand their global reach, their global influence, and they're going to use their military, their diplomacy, they're going to use economics, all to accomplish those things. And so when they invest in their military, and this is really important, they're not paying their soldiers what we're paying our soldiers. I mean, our number two line items in the military are personnel costs and healthcare costs. A lot of their money, when they're spending that 10%, isn't going into their personnel or their healthcare, it's going into weapon systems. And so they're modernizing, they're doing the kinds of things that would put them in a position to go head to head with a country like the United States. So it's concerning for a whole host of reasons. And again, Taiwan is that saber rattling that I think is a symptom of their broader desires for global influence. That's what is so concerning. And are we doing the kinds of things here in the United States to get ready for this strategic competition? And I would argue probably not.
What more should we do?
We have to do a lot. We have to, make sure our modernization of our military is accurate. We're going to have to squeeze out waste in our Pentagon. It's there. Listen, we also have this huge literacy problem in America. Think about over half of our kids last year couldn't read when they graduated from high school at the 6th grade level. So China is building and investing in its education for its next generation of technological leadership. And we're falling behind in math and reading. School in Baltimore had some 22 dozen, schools, didn't have one person proficient in math. We have a crisis of literacy here in this country that we're going to have to tackle if you want to be competitive to what China is saying is, hey, they're going to dominate technology by 2035. And that would mean that we're not going to have the same kinds of choices we have today in the United States if we don't do this. Spending is a big part of that. Think of that. The interest on our national debt is soon going to be larger than the entire Defense Department. We cannot continue to spend money we don't have. And by the way, where do we borrow a lot of that money? China.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.